Warning, the following video will contain language of a frank and explicit nature. Viewer discretion is advised. If you cannot handle four-letter words, or hair sticking out like mine is, stop watching now. Hey guys, Dave here. Okay. Now, of course, many of you remember a few weeks ago when I posted a video talking about a certain cosplayer who turned out she was marching with the alt-right at Charlottesville. Don't worry, I'm not saying her name this time. However, there are two news stories that are showing up in the news feed this week that are so absurd, but at the same time, they're very hot topic buttons. And because of that, I've got to talk about it. First off, let's leave it easy. First off, Superman, an Action Comics issue this week, did what he normally does. Apparently, a group of immigrants were having their lives threatened by a white American guy with an American flag as a bandana over his face, armed with a shotgun, prepared to kill the immigrants because he believes they took his job. I'm sorry, but when I saw that, I couldn't help but think about South Park. Oh, God. Really? Seriously? And, and the guy, when Superman stops him, the dude's like, why are you fighting me? They're the bad guys. They're the ones ruining the country. You've got a fucking shotgun and you're trying to kill innocent people. Okay? This is ridiculous. And now, here's not even the ridiculous part. I mean, this is any other comic book, right? Any other day. Conservative news organization Breitbart picked up the story. And now they are bitching because Superman is apparently pushing a far-left agenda as a social justice warrior. You mean saving innocent people from guys with guns because that's what he's always done? How about the fact that he's technically an illegal immigrant, in fact, a dreamer, if you could say that, because he follows the American dream. And I would love to see Trump say, Superman, show a birth certificate or we're kicking you out of the country. I would love to see President Cheeto have the balls to fuck with Superman. If anything would get his ass thrown out, I'm pretty sure that would. But I know he keeps cozying up and shit. It's ridiculous. Now, like I said, that's the ridiculous thing here. However, there's another story involving, bigotry that I gotta admit, guys, I'm on the fence here. This week in the news feed, turns out the Rose City Comic Con in Portland, Oregon, had apparently taken a little too much shit when somebody decided to come dressed up as an SS Hello Kitty. Yes. Yeah, because, a cat, or a woman who thinks she's a cat, or dressed like a cat, being a Nazi. No. That's just not happening. Anyway, apparently, a lot of people complained, and I can understand this. So now their policy is any old school cosplay involving Nazis, including old school Hydra, original Red Skull, anything that indicates actual connections with real-life Nazis will not only get you kicked out of the convention, but banned for life. Now, you see, I understand this. I really do. And I'm torn here. Now, let me make this perfectly clear. I, in no way, advocate, enjoy, condone, or even respect any idiotic white supremacist, the Ku Klux Klan, certain skinheads that are out there now, because I know there are good skinheads, so, boy. White nationalists, alt-right, any member of the American or otherwise Nazi party, in my opinion, can go fuck themselves with an iron cross. That's how I feel. I don't support them. This is the kind of evil we all fought the right rose to fight up we've all rose up to fight back in World War II, and we're still fighting it. And, personally, I think there's nothing good about them. Nazis are great to hate, man. I mean, they've got that pushing agenda where you either join us or you're inferior, and you just want to wipe their face in that shit, So I get that. And I think it should be stopped. It should be confronted. It should be fought. And it should be ceased. I would love to see that kind of crap to become nothing but another footnote in history as a bad idea based on the color of the skin and a lack of information. That's how I feel. However, do I understand Rose City Comic Con for having their own things for banning anyone doing any kind of SS or Nazi thing? Yes. But one thing I'm really against is anything that tries to cover up or abolish freedom of speech or expression. One thing that I'm going to give you a little honesty. I voted for Obama the first time. The second time I did not, and here's why. Because as much shit as the House and the Senate have been doing, apparently late night when no one was really giving a bother, they voted on H.R. 347, otherwise known as the Anti-Occupy Bill. Basically, it gives exceedingly broad powers to any to federal lands that people might protest on, or even anyone under the protection of the Secret Service. The Super Bowl, World Series, elected officials, even officials being running for high office. You see, because of H.R. 347, because they were meant to try to stomp out Occupy movements, the law states that all anyone has to do is, if you are protected by the Secret Service, is just say, I don't like him. I feel like he's threatening me, and I think he should be stopped. They can take a person, arrest them, hold them without trial, fine them up to $100,000, and keep them in jail for up to 10 years. This is flagrant bullshit. It is abuse of power, and it all comes down to the fact that I don't like him very much. I think he should go away. Now, like I said, I fucking hate Nazis, and I like to hate them, to be honest. But think about it for a second. Flat out abolishing this and abandoning him for life. Rose City Comic Con said something cool. They said, fictional villains are one thing, but reminders of actual real-world atrocities will not be abided. So I get that. But it all comes down to the fact that a lot of people look at a group, a minority, and says, I don't like them. I don't like their very existence. I think they should go away. Now, of course, telling somebody that, that's banned and you can't do it's going to make more assholes want to do it anyway. I mean, it's perfect psychology 101. But the other thing is, it opens a very dangerous precedent. It opens a very dangerous door to become the very things that you hate. If you had the ability to abolish a certain group that they're based on ethnicity, religion, political beliefs, or just because they like a different character on TV than you, then that runs the chance of abuse of power big time. And let's face it, there's a lot of that shit going on right now. See, everyone likes dark and visceral justice to be put on something that they think is okay to hate. Everyone likes that thing that I'm good, or I follow the path of good, but this is a destruction. This is the destruction of everything. Therefore it's okay to hate it. It's okay to be evil. Get rid of it. Hell, some people excuse it and call it something holy. Yeah, I don't want to get caught up in that bullshit trap. But here's the thing. As visceral as it is, as much as I fucking hate the Nazis, if I had the ability to eradicate them, like put them in ovens or say, for just example, then I would be guilty of becoming the very thing that I hate. And this is why we try to hold ourselves to a higher moral standard. This is why we try to temper justice and emotion with logic and reason and intellect. We try to hold ourselves to a higher standard. We know we're not perfect, but we try to make something better. We try to learn from it. We try to grow. We try to keep going forward in a positive way for everybody. Because we've learned that stepping on the necks of anybody is not a good thing. But that's just it. If you had the ability to take out someone that you hated, what happens if the script gets flipped on you? What if suddenly you are considered the bad guy or the enemy, and those same people have the option to exterminate you just because they don't like you very much? They just want to make you go away. Who cares how? Maybe in a puff of smoke. What, too soon? You guys know what I'm fucking talking about. And yes, I have to say stuff like this to get your attention. See, this is the trick, guys. As human beings, we're fallible. But we have to remember not to become the things we hate. We can stand up to it. We can fight against it. And we can stop it. But we got to run the risk and face that possibility that we could be tempted to become the very things we hate and just excuse it to ourselves. Sure, it may seem satisfying at first, but ultimately, when you calm down, you start thinking about, you're like, oh shit, what have I done? Don't become the very things you hate. And maybe, if Breitbart's bitching about Superman doing his job at saving all people, well, maybe they need to take a closer look in the mirror. Not a two-way mirror that people could just look through on one side, but actually look at themselves hard. Just my opinion. As far as Rose City Comic Con, that's your call. And I don't like Nazis. But what happens if they come for you next? What happens if suddenly people that like Stargate are banned? What if there are certain conventions that is Marvel only and DC characters will be banned? Even the ones that have crossed over. How far does it go? And when will you stand up and tell them to stop before they do come for you? Something to think about. Peace.